Hello, everyone. Today, I have a story that is as heart-wrenching as it is shocking. It's about the complex dynamics of family relationships and the unexpected choices people make. This is Mom passed away, so Dad dumped me at my uncle's house and married his new bride. Get ready for a tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat as we dive into the intricacies of love, acceptance, and standing up for what is right. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this captivating story. My mother passed away before I was 10. My uncle, mother's elder brother, took me in and raised me because my father had already started a new life and a new family by then. My uncle treated me well, though I'm not sure if my aunt feels the same about me as he did. My uncle and aunt had an only son who's around my age, and what he had, I had it too. For example, if my uncle got my cousin a laptop, he would get me one too, which would be of the same worth. My uncle even got me a car for my 18th birthday, so my cousin also treated me just like his own brother. I'm very grateful to have them in my life. Everything I have and that I am, I owe to them. But unfortunately, my relationship with my uncle has recently hit a slight snag. In my culture, it's usually the parents who will help out with purchasing a home for their sons when they get married. The reason is that people in my culture tend to marry young, but most of the time, we would not have worked long enough to save up enough for even the down payment. For a man not to have a marital home is considered a disadvantage, and the woman's family may not accept a proposed union, so a man having a marital home is very important. In my case, because my mother has passed away and my father is an absent parent, my uncle and aunt are my de facto parents. Indeed, my uncle said he would buy me a marital home. However, he has set a condition for that. I have to change my last name to his. Last names are a big deal in my culture, so this is not something that's taken lightly. My uncle said since he's been like a father to me, rather than my own father, and also as a remembrance to my mother, I should change my last name to his, which is also my mother's. So, basically, no change in my last name equals no marital home. I told him this is an unfair demand because, as I said, last names are a huge deal in my culture, and a change could trigger uncomfortable questions from people. But my uncle insisted that if I refused to change my last name, I would have to buy the marital home on my own, which is impossible because I'm a fresh grad, and it could take years to save up for the down payment. This could seriously set me back in terms of a romantic relationship and future marriage. Because of our disagreement, things between my uncle and I have become awkward. So far, my aunt and cousin have not said anything to me, but a group of close friends I've confided in told me I'm the idiot. I'm surprised by their reaction because other than this, I'd never gone against my uncle. I'm also very thankful to my uncle and what he's done for me, and I would gladly take up responsibility alongside my cousin to take care of him in his old age. It's just that I don't think I should be forced into making a fundamental identity change and be punished for not doing it. Am I the idiot? So, do I understand this correctly? You refused to change your last name to your uncle's last name, also your mother's last name, who took care of you since you were 10 and treated you like his own son just because you're afraid of uncomfortable questions from random people. Yeah, sounds like you're the idiot. I imagine Opie's culture values some names more than others, as some names would be associated with a higher class, which sucks and makes Opie the idiot, as he's more worried about what people think of him than grateful for his uncle's generosity. Someone who raised you like their own for your entire life wants to give you upwards of $250,000, and the only condition is that you change your name to the family name, which is also your mother's name. Oh, poor you. You must be so devastated. You are the idiot. He's done everything for you out of kindness, but he's not obligated to do everything for you. He's not your actual father, so he's not duty-bound to help you with your house. If you think he is duty-bound, then he is your father, and you should understand why he wants you to share his name. You can't have it both ways. Why is changing the last name such a big deal? Women are expected to do it all the time. I guess it's only men whose heritage and identity that are important. Everyone's the idiot here. You can't expect him to pay for a house as if he's your dad without legally showing you see him as your father. He's an idiot for putting this as a condition first, but he's not your dad. He doesn't owe you a house. Either save up for it yourself or change your last name. 38 male. I am single and childless by choice, but am close with my family, especially my niece and nephew. 18 female, Stephanie, and 18 male, Alexander. I own a small business near a major university that caters to students. It's mostly a bookstore specializing in discount textbooks, but we also sell coffee and baked goods and offer study areas. Since it's hard to find jobs that fit high schooler schedules, I've allowed Stephanie and Alexander to work at the store since they were 15. I had an offer with Stephanie and Alexander that I would either give them their payment weekly or put it in a bonus college fund for them. I recommended the college fund as it would be more useful in the long run, but it was still their choice. They could change their payment route anytime. Stephanie chose the college funds route while Alexander wanted weekly pay. Now they're 18 and going to college in the fall. Stephanie has a hefty amount saved up in her college fund. She claims it'll be enough to cover 3 years at her chosen university. She's also received several scholarships, so she can easily cover the rest with student loans. Alexander is much less responsible with money than his sister. He has virtually no savings because he'll almost immediately blow his paycheck on things he doesn't need. The longest he saved was for 3 weeks before he decided to spend it on a video game console. Alexander was accepted into his dream college, but said he was unsure how to afford it. My sister-in-law and brother were previously middle class, but lost a lot of money during the pandemic. They recently asked me if I was willing to help cover at least the first few years of Alexander's undergraduate program and how I could pay them in segments if need be. I could technically afford to, but I would need to take some of Stephanie's college fund. I told them that I thought it would be unfair to Stephanie to bail her brother out with the money she worked to save all those years. I have some of my savings, but it's an emergency fund if something happens with the store. My sister-in-law and brother were disappointed, but told me they understood. The problem is with our parents. They told me that it was selfish to leave my nephew unable to attend his dream school, and I should split the college funds. I told them that Alexander had already gotten his money. He just spent it already. They told me I should then give away my emergency savings because most teenagers aren't that great with money. And if Alexander had to leave his dream school while Stephanie could afford hers, it could cause the family to resent Stephanie. And I should, quote, prevent that rift before their relationships get hurt. But the twins have always had a good relationship with each other. And I think it's unfair that Alexander gets bailed out while his sister has to work hard. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Stephanie's college fund isn't even your money to take. She earned it working. That would be stealing her wages. If you were contemplating helping Alexander, it would need to be without touching the money Stephanie earned. As for pulling from your own emergency fund, no, this is all nonsense. Ask your parents where their contribution is. He had the same opportunity as his sister, but his choices now do not afford him the luxury of a debt-free college. This was his choice and his choice only. He can take out student loans, and since the grandparents are so concerned, they can chip in as well. All of this falls on Alexander only to solve. See how bad he wants to go to college and what he'll now do to achieve that goal. It's time he starts making better choices. Not the idiot, but you didn't contribute to her fund. You paid what you owed her. It's like saying my boss contributes to my rent. I am, however, curious about how 3 years of part-time wages added up to be enough money to cover 3 years of university for her. I, female 32, have recently inherited money from my mom. She was the only parent, and losing her is beyond devastating. The money can barely be called inheritance because my mom and her family didn't have much, but it's better than nothing. My fiancé at first said I deserved it, and I have the right to do whatever I wanted with it. However, he told his whole family about it, and then his infertile brother and his wife pulled him aside for a conversation. After that, he started talking about wanting and needing a nephew or niece, basically hinting about his brother's infertility issues, then flat out requested that I pay for his brother's and wife's IVF treatment for my inheritance money. I was taken aback initially, but then I declined. He got mad saying I was selfish because, number one, he and I are blessed never to have issues with fertility, and number two, literally have nothing to lose if I give them money, easy money that I didn't work for. This upset me to the point where I lashed out at him, telling him to stop bothering and guilting me about it. I denied the request as my final decision, but he got more agitated and went on a campaign to shame me for treating him as if he's not my future husband, and therefore gets a say or a right to my inheritance, and not giving a single crap about his family issues. What the heck? If my spouse asked me to just give it away as if it's free money, I'd be livid. Him speaking so insensitively about your mother's passing, nothing is easy about that, is another red flag. He's dismissing your experiences completely. He's putting his family's needs and wants before yours, and even asking you to do this is over the line, but he shames you for not giving in. More red flags. Please, please, please rethink this marriage. I think the inheritance was another blessing from your mother, showing you that this man is not meant to be your husband. So, maybe take a mini vacation by yourself, away from the who knows. You may actually find your soulmate there. He is showing you your future. Is this what you want? I'd ditch him and find somebody who won't treat you this way. He doesn't need a niece or nephew. He might want one, but it isn't a need. His brother and sister-in-law need to figure out how to pay for IVF independently. How would they intend to pay for a child? Put your inheritance money in an account that your fiancé cannot touch, or else it'll magically disappear, and his brother and his wife will be getting IVF. I won't explain much about my daughter's choice, because it's ultimately not mine. My wife and I have a daughter, Jay, 23, who just graduated college a year ago. My wife and I came from a poor background and worked our butts off to give our child everything she would ever need. She's a good kid, smart, kind, and polite. She got a full ride to a good school and moved away. 2 months ago, she called us to tell us that she was pregnant, with no father in sight. My wife flipped on her, full of exaggeration and criticism. She thought our kid was throwing her life away because my daughter was eager to keep the baby and my wife wasn't okay with this. She asked me if she could come back home for a while, work locally, and overall just be around us, because she felt scared and alone in her big city and wanted to spend her pregnancy with us. My daughter didn't use much of her college fund, barely 18 to 25%, and had good savings. She's also the kind of kid who always helped around the house, so I said yes. My wife didn't have much problem with this, but ever since our daughter came back, my wife has been passive-aggressive at best. Awful comments about how she messed up her life, how naive she is for thinking she can keep going with the kid, how the beginning of a career is the most important thing, and she just ruined it. She also doesn't have any kindness for our kid, making too much noise at 5 to 6 a.m. to wake her up, not lending her a car when asked to do quick runs to the store, etc. She's just being mean. My daughter sucks it up because she thinks she owes us something for letting her stay here. Yesterday, my wife just went over the top. My daughter found a job. She's doing work from home at the moment due to her pregnancy, for months, and was excitedly telling us that after the birth, she wants to get an apartment nearby and maybe raise my grandkid here. My wife just snorted and said that if she had already messed up her life, the least she could do was do the best for the kid and move somewhere better and maybe do it now. My daughter cried because she was basically getting kicked out and my wife tried to minimize her feelings, so I told my wife to leave my house because I was done with her mean teenage behavior. She said I couldn't kick her out, but I could because the house is not marital property, so she left, and my in-laws are coming at me because everyone thinks she's right. Not the idiot. Your daughter's lucky to have you in her corner. Your wife is absolutely ridiculous and disrespectful. I hope she realizes she'll never meet her grandchild after this. You are protecting your child. All your daughter is doing is looking to her parents for support, and her own mother is being so cruel. My daughter did much the same thing as yours, Opie. She was young and alone, and came home to us determined to make the situation a good thing. Her son was born 7 months later. She has since moved out, married, had another child, and gotten her master's. She works in her chosen field and makes a pretty penny, and my grandchildren have been raised beautifully. The point is that she hasn't messed up her life. She's taking a different path than the one your wife wanted. That's all. I really don't understand why the mom is so angry. Her daughter's 23, out of college with savings and leftover college funds, and has a job. She only doesn't have a partner, but why does she even need that? Plenty of single moms are raising kids with even less than this 23-year-old. Honestly, so weird, and this reaction feels way over the top. I think it's because the mom had dreams that her daughter's life was going to be better than hers. She would have a successful career and live in a big city and escape the town where they live, and now her dreams have been shattered, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. I suspect she may have some regrets in her life that she doesn't want her daughter to experience, or she's not ready to be a grandma. I'm an affair baby. I've always been pretty well aware of this, but it's not something I tell many people. My mom was young when she met my father, and she was unaware at the time of their meeting that he was married. My mom discovered the truth about him when his wife showed up one day and told my mother that she better leave town. She found out about me less than a month later and told him, and this is when his entire family found out. My mom ended up raising me on her own mostly. He and his wife stayed together, but there were times I met and was around his family because they hated that he needed to child support, and eventually my mom had to agree to say no to child support to stop him from taking me. We then moved so I wouldn't be subjected to mistreatment. My father's children told everyone, and I was in school with two of his nephews who spread the news around that I was an affair baby and my father didn't want me. I knew I was hated. My father's children were never shy about that they hated me. When she was 17, one of his daughters told me she found me repulsive and hoped I would die from a horrible disease. I haven't seen or heard from any of these people in more than 20 years. I met my husband when I was in college, and I did tell him. He was always kind and promised me nobody would treat me that way again. He also respected that I didn't want the news to go around. His family was always nice to me and asked me questions about why I only had my mom. I told them I didn't have much of a family and my father hadn't wanted me. They found out the truth in a way that they never explained to me, but a few days ago they confronted me about being an affair baby, and how could I not tell them because it was really relevant. My husband asked them why. He said none of that was my fault. They said it was not so simple as my father being a dead beef and my mom being the wronged party. My husband told them it was never any of their business. They told me I was a liar and that I'm ashamed of what I am, which is why I don't tell people. They said my character was questionable, knowing what they know now, and that lying is never the answer. I feel so bad because my husband is supporting me, and this has damaged my relationship with his family, but I also hate that this is the exact reaction I didn't want. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Why are they pinning it on you? You've done nothing wrong, and for someone to judge you for it is very strange. You didn't tell them because you didn't trust their reaction, and now that they found out, they're proving you right. So, tell them that all the trust you had in them is spent. One thing I've learned from my life experiences of being an affair baby is many people see someone like me as being dirty or tainted for being conceived the way we were. I was born in the South, and I found a lot of that where I was born. It's treated like an inherited part of who will be as well, and many people are disgusted by us for that very reason. Tell them my father and his side of the family were terrible people who were the wrong ones here. He cheated on his wife, and I was the result. His family bullied my mother and me out of our hometown. Gee, I wonder why I don't like peeling back that scab to show you all the ugly bitch you feel entitled to. Not telling you isn't the same as lying. Your reaction is exactly why I don't like telling people. OMG, I'm fuming on your behalf. Whatever happened in your past has absolutely nothing to do with this family. It's none of their business. You haven't caused this damage. They have by snooping, being so judgmental, and invading your privacy. Hold your head up high, honey. You've done nothing wrong. If this story touched your heart, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with others who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new story. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Hello, everyone. Today, I have a story that is as heart-wrenching as it is shocking. It's about the complex dynamics of family relationships and the unexpected choices people make. This is My Mom Demands I Lie to My Stepsister About Her Identity. Get ready for a tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat as we dive into the intricacies of love, acceptance, and standing up for what is right. When I was 18, my mom remarried my stepdad, who had a baby girl, and we became as close as any sisters as she grew up. I'm now 34 and she's nearly an adult. Last week she got outed at school, and to make a bad situation worse, her dad was mad at me and said she was lying for attention and called her names when she said it was for real. She came over to my apartment, distraught and looking for some advice. I'm a lesbian and have been out for years. I told her I was so sorry that happened, which was crappy since she deserved to be able to decide who to tell and when. But she wasn't the only one outed. Her dad, he just outed himself as a bigot. He outed himself as someone who should never have become a parent if he wasn't ready to love and accept his own child. And her school administrators outed themselves as negligent, probably even in the legal sense. But overall, when I come out, I often out other people way harder than I out myself. It can be hard, but it can also feel empowering to take a torch to the darkness, light it for all to see, and burn it away. Just by being in the room and letting people tell on themselves, we're outing idiots. So I let them talk and then go tell whoever I darn well please. I let them become known as ignorant as they choose because that's a lot worse than being known as queer. I told her it was horrible her story was taken from her, but I hope that she knew it wasn't taken forever. It's her right to say as much or as little to whoever she wants. And if someone gossips, they don't know her heart. They reveal their ugliness. So don't let it eat at you. So document and record it if you want. Share it if you want or keep it just in case. But whatever you do, it's all your call. It always is. We talked well into the night, and she was feeling way better afterward and ready to go home and face her dad again. Well, shortly after she went home, my mom called me. She said that my sister had come home and told her dad that they should agree to disagree about her issue, and anything further he had to say about it spoke only to his character. And when he tried to argue, she took out her phone and started filming and saying, "Do tell you had a child and weren't ready to love it. Get a dog if you want something that'll come back begging when you heard it." My mom called me furious because she thought I'd coached her on what to say, which I genuinely hadn't. I told her what advice I'd given, and she was angry. I even said that much and asked me if it would have killed me to say that I think your dad loves her and to give him some time to understand. I was irate to hear that, honestly, because what she said was heartbreaking and it hurts to hear my mom and stepdad didn't listen. Am I the idiot for the advice I gave? Not the idiot. Your advice was quite wise and your sister was tough to respond that way to her dad. I would remind your mother and him that love is not what you say. It's not what you feel. It's what you do. Your stepdad demonstrated clearly that he doesn't love his daughter. No amount of words will fix that. He needs to look deep and decide how to act going forward. Your reply is spot on. Sometimes parents have a hard time adjusting to their child's life looking different than they pictured it, and they might not initially be as warm and accepting as they should be, but you can tell they're trying. Unfortunately, this is not any of those. He wasn't trying. He was yelling and scaring her and rejecting her. It is 100% on him to apologize and fix this, pronto. It's not an OP sister to give him time when he's a raging idiot. The mom's response infuriated me as much as the dad's. Your mom is victim shaming, and that's not okay. Your dad's atrocious behavior is nobody's fault except his own. How much time does it take to understand I like girls, not boys? It isn't rocket science. Also, he loves her? Well, if this is how he typically expresses it, nobody needs that kind of love in their life. Yep, mom is in denial about the type of person she married, or she sees nothing wrong with his behavior and is trying to downplay it. Not the idiot. And Opie, if this is a new discovery about your mom, I'm so sorry. This is really stupid. But my girlfriend, whom I've been with for 2 years now, has been a vegan for a few weeks now. I've supported her and her transitioning into it, but I love meat. She doesn't mind me eating meat when we're out with friends or by ourselves, and rarely talks about it on the way back, although she's a little distant. Lately, though, she's been expressing how it's making it hard for her to see others enjoy meat, while she's trying her best to commit to a lifestyle change, and that if I could try dropping meat for a week or two, she can get more solidified in it. I told her no, and that I have no problem with her being vegan, but I'm not going to give up meat as well. If she wants, We can stop going out to restaurants with friends and together to help her. She got angry at me, saying how she doesn't need to put her social life on hold and stay indoors all day because I won't make this compromise for her. I tried to explain that I wasn't trying to limit her freedom and she can go wherever she wants, but if we're going together, most chances are I'll order meat. She's being very distant and angry at me lately, and my friends are telling me I'm being manipulative. Am I the idiot? Edit. I just wanted to add my girlfriend does not have any health issues that I know of, nor did she bring it up in the conversation about her transitioning or our argument. I really don't know if I can go a day without eating meat. It's my comfort food, and I've been stressed like crazy. I know it's a bad addiction/craving, but it's not the only thing I eat. I do eat fruits and vegetables, but often I just want a ham sandwich to just calm down. I don't know why, but I audibly laughed at I just want a ham sandwich to calm down. Not the idiot Opie. She has a self-imposed dietary restriction. It's not a health issue that needs solidarity. She can go be a vegan on her own time, and pushing others to follow is the exact part of veganism everyone complains about. You are the idiot. As you wrote, she asked you for just a few weeks, and it shows you don't care enough about her and her wants for a better lifestyle. I'm not saying you don't care, but that's just how this looks. She isn't asking you to make a lifestyle change just for you to help with hers. I'm sure you can find other things to eat so she won't feel like she's being punished. Sometimes we make sacrifices for the people we love, and 1 or 2 meals that don't include meat won't kill you. I'm 99% sure she's also using this to ease you into becoming vegan. It's just 2 weeks. Turns into, that wasn't so bad, was it? Why stop now? You're both adults. Her choosing to become vegan is her decision. You choosing to eat meat is your decision. Her trying to force you to be vegan is being an idiot. She said she doesn't want to put her social life on hold, but what's her plan when her social life friends are eating meat? Does she plan on forcing them to stop too? I was a vegan for a year. I didn't force anyone else to stop eating meat. I, 37 female, am married to my husband, 38, and we have a daughter together, tween. My daughter is very small for her age and sometimes gets treated like a younger child. She loves to hop up in my or my husband's lap and cuddle with us on the couch or in a chair. I've thought that maybe she may be too old for that sort of thing, and maybe I'm hurting her by letting her continue. Yesterday, she tried to hop in my lap and cuddle, and I told her she was too old for that and to get off me. She got really upset, got off of me, and went to her room and slammed the door. She hasn't tried to get in my lap since, and things are tense between us. She doesn't talk to me unless she has to, and when I hugged her good night last night, she didn't hug me back. I feel really guilty because I obviously hurt her feelings, but I feel like she might be too old to sit on my lap. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. She's not going to want to cuddle with you much longer, so you maybe have a year left and you're throwing that time away instead of cherishing it. Now she doesn't feel like or isn't comfortable hugging her own parents. What a terrible shame and sad thing to do to your own child, Opie. Yeah, she no longer has a year. It's over. Opie, you handled that terribly. You made her feel like she's done something wrong. Many people sit on their parents' lap at all ages. I've seen full-grown adults do it. She's a child. No wonder she's upset with you. How did you tell her? Did you literally say, "You're too old, get off of me"? Because if you literally told her to get off with no warning, it's no wonder why she perceived that as a rejection and is now completely confused as to what sort of physical affection is okay and what'll get her snapped at. Opie, there is no age limit for parental affection. I'll start holding her when I'm too big for my mom's lap. My 16-year-old still curls up for snuggles. I'm 35 and my sister's 38. We still jokingly get in my mom's lap and cuddle. What the heck, Opie? Your kid obviously loves you. Shows you love through cuddling up with you guys and feels comfortable. What you did by saying this basically makes her feel embarrassed and bad about showing you guys love. Yikes. You should feel guilty. My sister, 21, and me, 18 female, always fought when we were little. She never wanted a sibling, and I didn't necessarily want her to be my older sister either. My parents tried to make us get along but stopped after a couple of years, realizing that there was no point. I've been obsessed with getting straight A's since I was a little girl. I only hung out with a few friends and spent my free time studying or playing sports throughout high school while my sister struggled in school, hung out with the wrong people, and got into some very bad stuff. This didn't make her a person, but it made her make some very dumb decisions. One of her dumb decisions led to my nephew, who's now a toddler. I put aside my differences with my sister and have a fantastic relationship with him. I babysit him all the time and come to play with him while my sister sleeps. She works overnights. My issue is that my parents and sister want me to give up my car to her so that she can have a safer car since hers is old and keeps breaking down. My car is something I worked my butt off for and I really don't want to give it up. My parents bought it for me as a birthday gift since my grades had been so good throughout high school and I got into a very good college. I spent countless nights staying up till 3 a.m. studying, and I gave up on time with my friends and boyfriend just so that I could keep my grades up. So honestly, I view this car as my baby and a product of my hard work. My sister and her boyfriend have been texting me all week about it. She's been telling me it's only fair since I was the reason our parents never paid attention to her, and just because I got good grades doesn't mean I deserve the car. She told me I'd be putting her son in danger if I kept making them drive their unsafe car. My parents told me it was completely my decision, but I felt they wanted me to give it to her. I know they most likely can't afford a brand new or even slightly used car now, especially since they're going to help pay for half of my college. I understand she needs a safer car, but it isn't my responsibility to provide it for her. As I said, I worked so hard for it, and I'll be left carless if I do let her have it. I want my nephew to be safe, but shouldn't that be my parents' job, not mine? It is unfair for her, but she chose to live that life, and putting the blame on me just feels wrong. Just because I got good grades doesn't mean I deserve the car. Literally the reason you have the car. Some people. Not the idiot. It's not your responsibility to fix the consequences of your sister's bad decisions. I think your sister and her boyfriend are idiots here. They're expecting you to trade your hard-earned car for her crappy car that you'll have to sink money into every time it breaks down. This is not your responsibility to make her feel better about being ignored by your parents. She's manipulating you, and allowing her boyfriend to text you is just the manipulator of cherry on top. If I could tell you from the experience of having a screwed-up sibling who got every chance under the sun, I was expected to suffer for his mistakes. Don't trade it. Don't allow her to guilt you. Don't allow yourself to dwell on it. Do graduate college. Do continue to have a relationship with your nephew. Your sister may try to leverage him against you. Expect it and just continue on with your success. Your parents are stuck here and likely don't want you to trade it, but your sister's probably a monster about it. My goodness. My sister has been texting me all week about it, and her boyfriend too. If you have time to text me, you can find a good enough job to get a newer car yourselves. She's the one who's choosing not to get a more reliable car within her own means or working on getting to those means. Stop looking at the car as the reward for good grades. The real reward is the schooling and scholarship you'll get from good grades. The car is just the icing on the cake. Yeah, at 21 years old, if she's adult enough to be a parent, then she's adult enough to figure out how to get reliable transportation without crying to mommy and daddy to force a sibling to give her their car. Heed my words. Do not give her your car. You do, and your sister will walk all over you for the rest of your lives. If she needs one that badly, she can save up or get a loan from the bank. Not guilt trip you just for existing. My wife and I had our first child a few months ago. My sister lives 2 hours away and has seen my daughter once. My wife, kid, and I made plans to travel the 2 hours to visit my sister. I thought this would be a good opportunity for my sister to visit with my daughter, and we'd go out to eat. My sister has 3 dogs who are her world and have free reign in her place, much to my chagrin at times. They're allowed on the couch, in the kitchen, and everywhere. I visited her and not sat on the couch because I don't want dog hair on me. We've had family vacations where she brought her dogs. Everything had to be dog-friendly or centric, and I didn't enjoy that trip. I've passed on future vacations. There was no point in trying to talk her out of bringing them, plus I didn't want to spend my vacation with her dogs. When we arrived, I knocked, heard the barking, and told my wife to hold off bringing my daughter inside until I knew the dogs were in another room. Sister opens the door, greets me, and says come inside. I asked whether she minded putting the dogs in another room. She pauses, goes absolutely not, and looks baffled that I would even request that. I told her I wasn't ready for my daughter to be around three dogs. It's only for about an hour, then we're going to lunch. After a bit of back and forth, she obviously won't put the dogs away. I just say, all right, I'm gonna head home. I help my wife put my daughter in the car and